let's continue on where we left off there. For Pinky, Meena and Rajni and Chetan Bhai, we're online here looking. So where are we exactly online here?
It's about 21 paragraphs from the start.
On the line beginning.
Kunti and Madri were torn by grief.
Right, and this is part 1, chapter 2, isn't it?
Yeah.
Pandu cursed and blessed. Okay. So Kunti and
Madri were torn by grief.
Okay, look down. You've got the page of your book, but let's go down the paragraphs and find Kunti and Madri. Let's go to Kunti and Madri. And Shamamai is here from Florida. Hare Krishna, Shamamai.
Well, are you just starting?
Yeah, go down on the
Okay.
Vedabase, Mahabharat Vedabase, chapter 2. Kunti
Right, okay.
and Madri. Kunti and Madri were torn.
Yeah,
Let's keep going. I've got it. By grief. They were torn by grief. Okay, so let's start with Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, everybody. Kunti and Madri were torn by grief. They could not face the prospect of separation from their husband. In piteous voices, they begged that he allow them to follow his path. Both queens were prepared to accept whatever austerities he accepted. On behalf of them, both Kunti said, "Let us together accept one retirement in the forest. We shall be happy practicing asceticism with you. If you leave us today, we shall not bear our lives any longer."
Okay, so now, as we know from last week, and those who weren't here last week, we can just explain that Pandu, as it was in the forest, and as a great warrior, he wanted to hunt, and he shot a deer with his arrow, and that deer happened to be a stag in the form of a yogi, in the form of a stag who wanted to enjoy sexual union with his wife as in the form of a stag, and he was killed at the time of sexual satisfaction, sexual enjoyment, and he cursed Pandu that you also, since you have forced me to suffer in this way, it's fitting that you will meet the same end when you're enjoying your wife or one of your wives. You will also meet death. So now they've decided, okay, look, this is very serious. We're going to have to move forward from the Grihastha ashram here. Fast forward, we're going to have to get into the Vanapras situation, where now our family life is over in Vanaprast, and the husband and wife, they go on Tirth Yatra, and they focus on their spiritual development and avoid the base sexual relationship. They move upwards now to a higher stage of a relationship, and therefore they've agreed that we should do this to save our husband. Okay, carry on, Chetan Bhai. Pandu relented.
Pandu relented that he intended to perform the strictest austerities. His wives were not deterred. They wished only to be with him whenever he went.
Carry on.
Pandu resolved. Sorry, can I continue?
Padatu.
Pandu resolved to embark on his ascetic life immediately. He would not return to the city. He removed all his royal ornaments and gave them, along with his riches, to the Brahmins. Then he sent back to Hastinapur and informed Bhishma of everything that has occurred.
Okay. Are you all right there, Pinky? Can you read this part?
Yes, Prabhuji. The royal attendants and Brahmins left sorrowfully for Hastinapur. The citizens lamented loudly when they learned of Pandu's plight. Dhritarashtra was especially afflicted. Of Pandu living so austerely in the forest, he could no longer derive pleasure from the comforts of his beds, servants, and royal opulences. He continually wept and brooded over Pandu.
Okay, let's welcome Amita Prabhu. Haribol Prabhuji.
Haribol, sorry I'm late.
That's fine. Just a moment. I just got a technical hitch here with my leads. Right. It wasn't plugged in. Okay, Prabhuji, we've just started, so we were a bit late starting day because I arrived. Okay. I arrived from my mother's home in Wales quite late.
Oh, okay.
And we've got new people here. Pinky is here. Shama Mai is here. Archana, Chetan at the top is here. Neelam you met, I think, before, and Archana and Jai Shri Krishna. Rajni was here when you was here before. Pandu has just been cursed for the sin of killing the yogi when he was copulating with his wife in the form of a stag. And now everyone has agreed with to follow Pandu's line of life into Vanaprast. Vanaprast means austerity, penances, fastings. We call it, the famous word is prayashchita, atonement of sins. These are the basic parts of Bhakti Yoga anyway. Bhakti Yoga itself, as we know, is a form of prayashchit. So this is where we are at the moment. What page are we on, Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu?
18.
18. You'll find in the book, when we are reading online, there's some difference. So please, both sides, we have to just tolerate that little bit and until everyone gets the book. Okay, Neelam, carry on.
After the Brahmins and attendants had left, Pandu made his way into the forest with his wives. They walked steadily north for many days and finally arrived at Asrota, the 100-peaked mountain. There the king constructed a wooden hut and began to engage in severe penance. Many rishis, siddhas, and charnas lived in that region, and Pandu soon endeared himself to them by his qualities of self-control and devotion to his elders and to God. They would frequently visit his hut to converse with him. With his mind fixed only on salvation, Pandu lived quite simply as a Sapta Asrota. He ate only fruits and roots and drank clear water from mountain springs. His two wives accepted the same vows he had taken, and thus all three lived joyfully on the mountain like a celestial descendant from the higher regions.
Okay.
Gradually,
Who else has actually followed this path in the line of the Kurus? Who can tell me?
The third brother of the three brothers, Pandu and Dhritarashtra, what's his name?
Vyas.
Yes, and who else?
The third brother of the three Pandu brothers, what's his name? He was the prime minister.
Oh, Vidura didn't. Vidura lived in the palace. No.
No.
Who else? Who else in this line was a Kshatriya and has adopted this type of austere life?
Bhishma
Pitama. Bhishma also, it's unusual that Bhishma, he made this type of vrat, which is an impossible vow for a Kshatriya. Therefore, it's called Bhishma. And now, by providence, by pure providence, Pandu Maharaj has taken this, is forced to take this path, and along with that, his devoted wives, the queens, are following him on this path of austerity and restraint. Okay, Rajni Bhai.
Means to read now?
Yes, please.
Okay. Gradually over time, Pandu thought more about his situation. One day he spoke to the rishis, revealing his fears. O greatly learned ones, I have heard that a sonless man cannot attain heaven. By having sons, one pays his debts to his ancestors. If I die without issue, my forefathers will surely perish. As the Shraddha offerings will cease, I am thus filled with apprehension because I cannot beget children. Pandu was anxious. He would often perform the Shraddha ceremony for the welfare of his departed ancestors. The Vedas state that such food offerings made to the gods on their behalf ensures their continued happiness in heaven. Pandu was concerned. What would happen when he died? If he left no children, he would continue the offerings to his forefathers and indeed to himself. He folded his palms in supplication. Could the rishis beget children in his wife, just as Vyasadeva had begotten him and his brothers?
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. Archana.
Hare Krishna. Smiling, one of the rishis replied, by our aesthetic power, we have seen that you will undoubtedly have children like the gods themselves. Indeed, your progeny
Hey, whoa. Progeny.
sorry, your progeny will fulfill the purpose of the celestial. All this we can clearly see. Therefore, you should certainly act in such a way as to somehow produce children. Consult first with your wives and then decide what should be done.
Carry on.
Pandu reflected on the rishi's words. It seems that sages were amenable of his suggestions. He went to Kunti and spoke with her in private. O lady of sweet smile, I desire offering, but due to my vicious behavior, I have lost my power of procreation. In such intense, these scriptures sanctions that some other worthy men may beget children on my behalf. Please therefore accept another man and convince a child for me.
And conceive, not convince, conceive.
Conceive a child for me. Sorry about
that. It's all right. We'll help you. We'll help you with the Gujarati, Gujarati Basha, your Pela Basha che. So, you know, we're doing, if I was reading Gujarati, I would make a hell of a mess of it. So, yeah, this is the situation now. He's having to really eat humble pie. Humble pie. You know, you're a Kshatriya, you're powerful, you're virile, you're full of, you know, you've got all the testosterone, you're a man. And now you have to give all up that pride, that dignity of being a great Kshatriya king, and now you're looking to somehow find somebody else to give children to your wife. How humiliating, how humbling is this? But this is the greatness of these Kshatriyas and these characters in the Mahabharat, that they could tolerate such a humiliation for a great Kshatriya like Pandu. Because remember, when Kunti Devi was getting married, what did all the other Kshatriyas do when Pandu came in and took Kunti Devi? What happened? Do you remember? Because at her Swayamvar, he just came and took her, kidnapped her from the wedding, from the ceremony. All the other princes, they simply walked away. They didn't give a fight. Usually there's a fight. But with Pandu, don't you remember this? It was a couple of chapters of the last chapter. No? Nobody remembers. Was it Kunti or Madri?
I missed the last class, sir.
Yes, well, Pandu, when he claimed Madri or Kunti, one of them, all the princes were there to claim their beautiful wife. But when Pandu came and just took her, nobody challenged him. He was such a powerful prince. So now he's in this very humbling condition. Okay, Mina Ben, carry on. Yes, Mina, you have to unmute.
Sorry, we just lost the line.
Okay, Shamamai, carry on.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
All right. Just give me the first line of the paragraph because I lost the text for a minute there.
The noble Kunti.
Okay. Yeah, okay, I got it.
Was it Pandu?
The noble Kunti did not like.
Was it Pandu pointed out?
Yeah.
Pandu pointed out.
Yes, Pandu pointed out. Carry on, Shamai.
Yeah, I got it. Okay. Pandu pointed out that even he and his brothers had been conceived in this way. Kunti should thus accept a qualified Brahmin who was superior to himself in order to have a child. The noble Kunti did not like Pandu's suggestion. Just a minute. She looked down and spoke softly in reply. "O virtuous one, please do not request this of me. I am your lawful wife, ever devoted to you. I shall certainly not accept another's embrace." Hang on, I'm just taking a seat here. I should certainly not accept another's embrace, even in my imagination. O king, embrace me to beget offspring. I shall ascend to heaven with you. Who is there superior to you?
Okay,
quiet now, I can read.
Yes, Amita Prabhu.
Oh, sorry. Kunti recited to her husband an ancient history she had heard. There was once a powerful king who had died without issue. His lamenting wife had embraced his dead body, and by the arrangement of the gods, she conceived children. 3 qualified sons were born of her union with her dead husband. Kunti asked Pandu to emulate that king. Pandu shook his head. "I do not possess such power. Our only recourse is the rishis. One of those great sages should conceive with you. I see no other way." The king assured her that no sin was attached to such an act. It was his responsibility, as he was commanding her as her husband, and she should not hesitate to comply with his request. Pandu tried in many ways to convince his wife. At last, Kunti, seeing her husband's determination, said to him, "I shall tell you of a boon I received while in my maidenhood, which may yet prove to be our deliverance. When I was a girl in my father's house, he would engage me in serving guests. One day, the powerful mystic Durvasa arrived. By my service and constant attention to all his needs, I greatly pleased that rishi. As he was leaving, he called me aside and said, 'Gentle maiden, I shall confer upon you a boon. Listen as I recite a mantra. This mantra, uttered by you, will summon any of the celestials you desire. Whether agreeable or not, they will then be obliged to do your bidding.'"
Fantastic, fantastic. Jai Shri Krishna, Prabhu.
Kunti already had experience of the mantra's power. As soon as she uttered it once and thought of Surya, the blazing deity had appeared before her. He had then conceived a son. Kunti therefore knew that she could summon other gods to produce further children. She had not wanted to reveal this secret, being reluctant to unite even with the gods in place of her husband. But with this was an emergency. It seemed that the time to make good use of Durvasa's mantra had come. Pandu, who had known nothing about the boon, was overjoyed upon hearing Kunti's words. This was surely the Lord's errand. Sons from the gods would be far superior to any born of earthly man. Kunti asked her husband which of the deities she could call. Pandu thought of some moments and then said to his wife, "O beautiful lady, you should call the great Dharma, God of justice. He will never pollute us with sin, and his son will undoubtedly be qualified in every way."
Chetan Bhai.
Pandu thought for some moments and then said to his wife, "O beautiful lady, you should call the great Dharma,
No, we've done that one.
the God of never be able to pollute us. He will
Kunti
never
Kunti
be able
ascended.
to."
We've just read that paragraph.
Next paragraph. Kunti assented to Pandu's request.
Kunti assented to Pandu's request. She sat in meditation and thought of Dharma, reciting the mantra Durvasa had given her. Within moments, the deity appeared, riding on a resplendent chariot, shining like the sun. He smiled and said to Kunti, "Worship time, awed by the god's splendor." Kunti replied to the trembling voice, "I desire a child by your illustrious self."
Thank you, Prabhuji. I was going to say Kunti then. Pinky.
Dharma at once united with her in his spiritual form and then disappeared. Kunti conceived and in due course gave birth. During the 8th month of the year at noon on a full moon day, when the auspicious star Jyeshta was in the ascendant, she brought forth a lustrous son. As soon as he was born, a celestial voice was heard in the sky. "This child will be the best and most virtuous of men. He will be devoted to truth, highly powerful and famous throughout the 3 worlds, known as Yudhishthir. This boy will rule the earth." Pandu was overjoyed. The gods had not forsaken him after all. Here was a child worthy of his great dynasty. He no longer had to be anxious.
Thank you very much, Pinky. Who remembers another time when a voice appeared in the sky, a disembodied voice, and it's like an omen? Who remembers when that happened?
When Devaki was, I think something to do with Devaki and this Vasudeva were molested or threatened to be killed.
Devaki was being threatened to be killed. I can't remember that one. There was anyway. Anybody else remember? Kamsa, you fool!
Ah,
Well, I was saying Kamsa is threatening Devaki. That's what I meant.
No, Kamsa wasn't threatening Devaki, Prabhuji. Kamsa was happily riding the chariot. He was driving the chariot. He was Partha. He was the Sarti, sorry. And Devaki and Vasudeva just got married. Do you remember?
Yeah.
And then suddenly everything changed. And this disembodied voice appeared. Who can tell me where this disembodied voice is coming from? Suddenly.
Akashvani.
Yes, yes. Give Neelam a Haribol. Akashvani, yes. It's these are different devtas and celestials that they're like town criers. You know, in the old days in England, someone would go around the town with a bell, and he would ring the bell, and ding, ding, ding. Oh, hear ye, hear ye. He would shout, and he would give the news. So these are something like devtas in the form of a town crier giving a message to the different personalities here. So this Akashvani has appeared and made this point about Yudhishthir. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay, Archana. Oh, let's welcome Alex. Can you
Then he began.
tell Alex which page we're on, Prabhu?
21.
21. Thank you. Jai Sri Krishna.
Then he began to consider the situation. Is it
Yeah, carry on.
right one? Yeah. He saw that the Druvasa Bunkunti could obtain more powerful sons, born of the gods themselves, who would ensure that the Kuru's welfare and become greater leader in the world. Pandu approached to Kunti again a year after Yudhishthira's birth and said, "The wise have declared that a ruler should progress strength as well as righteousness. Therefore, please Therefore, please avoid the wind god Vayu, the strongest of the gods. By him, we shall get a son who will be the most powerful man upon this earth."
Meena.
Prabhuji, she said she can't.
Kamamai. Amita Prabhu.
Kunti folded her palms and bowed in assent. She again sat in meditation, this time calling for Vayu. In moments, the god appeared, riding a huge deer. In a voice that sounded like thunderclouds, the effulgent god said with a smile, "O Kunti, what do you desire from me?" Kunti was bashful as she replied, "O best of the celestials, please give me a son who will possess immense bodily strength and who will be capable of humbling the pride of all." The god agreed, and by his yogic power he approached Kunti and conceived a child within her womb. When Vayu's child took birth, a voice was again heard from the sky, saying, "This child will be the best of all those endowed with strength and power."
Haribo. Alex Prabhu.
Jai Sri Krishna. Pandu and Kunti were even more joyful to see their second son, whom they called Bhima. Along with Madri and in the company of the rishis and siddhas, they lovingly raised their children in the remote and beautiful woodlands on the mountainside. Some months after Bhim's birth, Kunti was sitting near the edge of a mountain cliff with Bhim asleep on her lap. Suddenly, a tiger roared nearby. She jumped up in fear, and the baby rolled from her lap over the cliff edge. Struck with horror, Pandu quickly descended the cliff. When he reached the bottom, he saw the child lying unharmed amid a pile of rocky fragments. The baby had landed upon a large rock and had smashed it to pieces. In amazement, Pandu gently lifted his child and took him back to Kunti.
Bhimasena Ki.
Jai.
Now that's what I call a baby that rocks.
That's a funny.
That gives a new meaning to the song. Rock-a-bye, baby. Okay. Jai Shri Krishna Prabhu.
Even with two sons, Pandu continued to reflect on the future of his dynasty. He thought success in this world depends upon exertion, but exertion is always subordinate to destiny. Yet even destiny is controlled by the will of Supreme Lord. How then can I obtain a son who will be the best of all those devoted to the Lord? Pandu thought of Indra, the king of gods and a famous devotee of the Lord. Indra had formerly performed 1,000 sacrifices for Lord Vishnu's pleasure, and he possessed immeasurable might, prowess, and glory. From him would surely come a son who would be superior to all. Pandu consulted the rishis and was advised that he and Kunti should practice an ascetic vow for 1 year to please Indra. At the end of the period, Kunti should summon the god with her mantra.
Itambai.
The monarch and his wife then accepted a vow of standing on one leg from sunrise till sunset, taking neither food. They kept their absorbed in meditation 1 complete year. Within at the end of the year,
Okay. Pinky, wait a minute, Prabhu, you're breaking up. Let's start again. Pinky, you start that again.
did I break up there?
Yeah. Let Pinky go, and then you can do another one. The monarch and his wife, Pinky.
The monarch and his wife then accepted a vow of standing on one leg from sunrise till sunset, taking neither food nor water. They kept their minds absorbed in meditation and prayer for 1 complete year, with an aim to please Indra. At the end of the year, Indra spoke to Pandu in his meditation. I have become pleased with you, O king. I shall give you a son who will protect religion and chastise the wicked. He will delight his friends and relatives and slay his foes. Indeed, this boy will be the best of men.
Okay, Chetan.
Following Pandu's request, Kunti again chanted her mantra. Indra appeared in last.
Okay, you're
By the power
breaking up, Prabhu. You're breaking up. We're gonna
breaking up again.
maybe you can change your setting on your on the top of left of your screen. Are you on a computer?
I am.
Yeah, on the top left, there's original sound for musicians off, and then you can switch it on. So try changing your sound on the top left, okay? Meanwhile, Neelam, you carry on for now, Neelam.
Following Pandu's request, Kunti again chanted her mantra. Indra appeared immediately, his bodily luster lighting up the whole region. By the power of thousand-eyed Indra, Kunti conceived, and in time a dark-complexioned child was born. For the 3rd time, the heavenly voice was heard, resounding over the mountainside. O Kunti, this child will be equal in strength to Indra, and indeed Shiva himself. He shall be called Arjun, and he will spread your fame everywhere. He will subjugate many powerful kings and greatly increase the prosperity of your dynasty. Agni, Shiva, and Indra will all be gratified by this boy's service. He shall have no equal in prowess and will be famous throughout the 3 worlds. Overhearing this as well as other prophecies recording Arjun's future greatness, the rishis on the mountain were filled with joy. They uttered blessings while the celestial drums reverberated and showers of flowers fell from the sky. Many gods and the heavenly sages appeared before Kunti and offered the child benedictions. Only the ascetic rishis could see them as they appeared in their ethereal forms, standing in chariots and on mountains' peak. The rishis were astonished by that wonderful sight, and they stood with folded palms.
Oh, thank you, Neelam. That's really nice. Who knows it's mentioned about Arjuna here, describing him. Who knows the meaning of Arjuna, the name Arjuna? It's mentioned in the Mahabharat at a certain point, but here there's a hint at the beginning of that paragraph, there's a hint about Arjuna's, the meaning of the name.
Is it that he cannot be defeated by anybody? Is that what it?
No, that's Parantapa. That's Parantapa. It's another name for Arjuna. Anybody else know the meaning of Arjuna?
Like brightness.
Yes, yes, close. Very close. Very good. That's Chetan Bhai. Rajni Bhai.
No, no clue.
Dark. Arjuna. Yes, yes, yes.
White and clear?
Sorry?
White and clear?
No, not white at all. He had dark complexion, and Arjuna means one who has swarthy skin. Swarthy skin. So he had a dark complexion. Who else had a dark complexion that was very close to Arjuna?
Krishna. Shiva.
Yeah.
Who else? Draupadi.
And Draupadi. Draupadi was called Krishna.
Yeah.
So Draupadi had very special affinity towards Arjuna amongst her husbands. She had favored Arjuna. She was dark-skinned, he was dark-skinned together, you see. So there was some favoritism. Therefore, Draupadi had to undergo some suffering later. Later on at the Mahabharat, there's some story later about that. Okay, so that's the meaning of Arjuna. Everybody clear on that?
Yes. Sorry, Prabhuji, I have to drop off.
Yes. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Chetan Bhai, give it a go now.
The king felt silent. Kunti was right. He decided not to ask for any more sons and continued to live peacefully in the forest with his 2 wives. The 3 sons grew luxuriantly in their care.
Hurry on.
Then one day Madri approached Pandu privately. My lord, I do not complain that you treat me less favorably than Kunti. Even though I am of a higher birth, I still have no complaint. My one grief is that you have no sons by me. Madri found her position unbearable. No princess in her line had ever gone without issue. Kunti had 3 sons. Madri had heard that
Dhritarashtra's
wife Gandhari had given birth to her 100 sons in Hastinapura. Yet she, the lawful wife of a great hero, was childless. She asked Pandu to request Kunti to teach her mantra. Madri explained that she was too shy to ask her directly, since Kunti was her rival.
Archana.
Pandu looked with compassion at his younger wife. Dearest lady, I had already been considering my few. Now that I know your mind, I shall certainly speak with Kunti. I do not think she would refuse. The monarch approached Kunti immediately. He told her of Madri's sorrow and asked her to be gracious to her co-wife. Pandu made it clear that he also desired more sons to secure more fully the good of his race, including that of himself and indeed Kunti.
Neelam.
Kunti assented to her husband's request and told Madri, O gentle lady, I shall recite the mantra for you, for your benefit. Please think of some deity from whom you desire offspring. Madri thought carefully. Most probably, Kunti would allow her to use the mantra only once. If she summoned the inseparable twin Ashwini gods, she would get 2 sons at once. Even as she thought of the 2 gods, they appeared before her. aglow with celestial splendor, bashfully she asked that they unite with her to conceive children, and they immediately agreed. They begot upon Madri 2 boys of incomparable beauty, who were named Nakul and Sahadev. Upon their birth, the divine voice said, "These virtuous and accomplished sons will transcend in energy and beauty even their celestial fathers."
Thank
The
you.
Rishi,
Thank you. Rajni.
The rishis performed all the rites of passage for the 5
No.
boys. Sorry? Okay,
With
should I go on?
5 godly sons.
No. What's
No,
happening here?
I've got
What's
something.
happening here?
I've got something.
Alex,
I've got
Prabhu.
something.
Wait a minute, Alex.
Hello.
Alex, what's happening when we read online? It's slightly different to the book. So when he's reading like this, we just have to tolerate that a little bit, okay? Carry on, Rajni.
Okay, I will. The rishis performed all the rites of passage for the 5 boys, and they grew up swiftly. Even at age 1, they appeared as if they were 5 years old. Pandu was overwhelmed with happiness at seeing his son's extraordinary strength, beauty, energy, and wisdom. All the boys became favorites of the rishis, and they sported like 5 Gandharvas descended to earth. Pandu wondered if he might again have another son through Madri, but when he asked Kunti if she would permit Madri to use the mantra again, Kunti became angry and replied, "My lord, I was deceived by that wicked woman. Although I gave her the mantra only once, she obtained 2 sons. If I give it to her again, I fear she may surpass me in the number of children. Pray do not ask me for this favor anymore."
Meeta Prabhu.
Thank you. Haribol.
Haribol.
Now, of course, I've got different texts. So have we got different editions of the same book?
Now, what's happening? We've got the same book, but online it's different.
Oh, okay, because that was the last paragraph. Pandu's sons all became fearless. Should I read that?
We've got Pandu reconciled himself.
No.
No, it doesn't match the text at all. I mean, we're starting off with chapter 3 now in the book.
Yeah, I mean, the last paragraph of chapter 2, Pandu's sons all became fearless bowmen. That hasn't been read, but shall I read that just to finish it?
Carry on, Prabhu, and read it. Yeah.
Pandu's sons all became fearless bowmen who were capable, even in their early youth, of facing furious mountain lions. The rishis schooled them in every facet of Vedic knowledge. They were astonished to see the boys growing so rapidly, like lotuses blooming in a lake. Pandu and his wives offered prayers of thanks to Lord Vishnu for their great fortune, and they went on living in the Himalayan region, raising their sons with affection. And that's the end of chapter 2.
Okay. The last paragraph that we've got online is Pandu reconciled himself to the fact that he would have only 5 sons, but he was not disappointed. His boys grew up like gods. They were all as handsome as the moon god Soma and as powerful as Indra. They all became fearless bowmen. Okay, so there we are. That's the connection there.
Yes, yeah.
Now, there's obviously some difference here. Krishna Dharma Prabhu is going to explain a little bit of this to me, why there are differences, so I can pass that on. Okay, so they all became fearless bowmen and who were capable, even in their early youth, of facing furious mountain lions. The rishis schooled them in every facet of Vedic knowledge. The ascetics were astonished to see the boys growing so rapidly, like lotuses blooming in the lake. So there we are. That's a kind of a similarity to that section.
Yeah.
Okay, so Raj, who's next now? Let's go to Shamamai. Next chapter. Let's start. Pandavas come to-
I keep having trouble, on my phone, and it keeps freezing, like the text.
Oh.
Having Zoom and the text together, I think it slows things down. So I'm not able. I had it, and then I lost it. I keep losing it.
Ah, okay. You're using a phone then.
Yeah, because I'm out.
no,
I'm
no.
out in Gainesville. Yeah.
No, you have
But I'm
to.
listening attentively.
Oh, thank you.
I'm outside, sitting outside here at the Krishna house.
Let's go to Alex, and Alex can start the next chapter, which is entitled "The Pandavas Come to Hastinapur." Go on, Alex.
Jai Shri Krishna. In Hastinapur, as Dhritarashtra had performed 5 sacrifices with the wealth Pandu had given him. He gave charity to hundreds of thousands of Brahmins and satisfied the gods with his offerings. The kingdom flourished and the citizens had everything they desired. They were devoted to virtue, sacrifice, and truth. Bearing love and affection for one another, they grew in prosperity. Hastinapur was filled with countless palaces and mansions. There were golden arches and crystal fountains everywhere. Between broad paved highways lay beautiful gardens, and the air was filled with sweet fragrance of blossoming trees. The clatter of horses' hooves and chariots' wheels resounded everywhere, mixing with the sound of trumpeting elephants and the blare of conch shells, marking the beginning of sacrificial performances. Holy chants uttered by numerous Brahmins emanated from tall and exquisitely constructed temple buildings which graced the city in their thousands. Hastinapur appeared like Indra's celestial capital, and each day dozens of feudal kings would arrive bringing tribute. Jai Shri Krishna.
Okay, Jai Shri Krishna. Carry on, Prabhu.
Assisted by Bhishma, Dhritarashtra ruled the kingdom on Pandu's behalf. After Pandu's curse and his subsequent retirement, Dhritarashtra, despite his blindness, was installed as monarch. He thought sadly of his brother and missed him greatly, but in his absence he competently managed all the affairs of the state. It once came to pass that Vyasadeva arrived hungry and thirsty at Dhritarashtra's palace. Gandhari attended to him. Consciously, Vyasadeva was pleased with the girl and blessed her. You shall soon have 100 sons as powerful as your husband. In due course of time, Gandhari conceived. For 2 years she bore the embryo within her womb, becoming increasingly anxious. Then one day news reached her that Kunti had given birth in the forest to a boy as effulgent as the morning sun. Out of frustration and anger at her own exceedingly long gestation, she violently struck her womb. She then brought forth a hard mass of flesh that resembled an iron ball. As her nurse informed her of her stillbirth, she was affected by grief and thought of Vyasadeva and his womb. At once the sage appeared before her and said, "What have you done?" So
Yes,
I can
what has she done, Chetan? What has she done, Chetan boy?
Gandhari told him now she had become overwhelmed with envy and frustration when she had heard of Kunti giving birth to Yudhishthir. With tears in her eyes, she said, I struck my womb, and this lump of flesh came out. What then was the meaning of your boon? Vyasadeva replied that his word could never prove false. He asked the servants to bring 101 pots filled with ghee. He then sprinkled cool water on the lump of flesh, and it gradually divided into 101 pots, each the size of a thumb. These were placed in the pots, which were then sealed and placed in a concealed spot. Vasudeva instructed that the pots should be opened only after 2 more years had passed. He then departed for his lonely mountain ashram.
Okay, Archana.
Exactly after the 2 years had elapsed, the ports were opened one by one. From the first came a child who was named Duryodhana. At the moment he was brought out of the port, the sound of praying asses and screaming volunteers was heard. Jackals howled, and the wind blew furiously without any apparent cause. Fire sprang up all around the city and raged in all directions. The frightened king Dhritarashtra summoned the Brahmins as well as Bhishma, Vidura, and other ministers and counselors. He asked them the meaning of the omens. The king said the eldest of the prince is undoubtedly Yudhishthira, and he should inherit the kingdom. I do not dispute that, but will my son become the king after him? O wise ones, please tell me what is right and lawful.
Yes, Neelam.
As Dhritarashtra spoke, the terrible sound began again from all sides. Hearing this, Vidur replied to the king, when these omens are seen at the birth of a child, it is evident that he will be the exterminators of his race. Our prosperity and future depend upon his being abandoned. Do not hesitate, O king, this child must be cast away at once. Vidur told Dhritarashtra that he would still have 99 other sons. There would be no sin in abandoning this child, as the scriptures clearly state that an individual can be abandoned for the sake of a family. Indeed, a family can be abandoned for the sake of a village for the sake of a city, and the world itself can be abandoned for the sake of the soul. Dhritarashtra
was unable to accept Vidura's counsel. He could not allow his son to be cast away. He shook his head slowly and said nothing in reply. As the nurse stood by holding the baby, the king waved towards Gandhari, and the child was handed to her. Bhishma and Vidura looked at one another, but said nothing. Dhritarashtra was the monarch. His word was final. Over the course of next month, all the pots were opened, and 100 boys and 1 girl were brought out. All the boys bore the signs of being great warriors and rulers. The king and queen rejoiced in their good fortune. Dismissing the evil omens, they dwelt contentedly in Hastinapur, attended by Bhishma and Vidura. On Saptashrota mountain, spring had arrived. Pandu, surrounded by his 5 youthful sons, felt young again. He sported with the boys in the hills, scaling rock faces and challenging lions in their caves. They dived and played in mountain pools and climbed tall trees. Wrestling and laughing together, they rolled about the soft grassy slopes.
We'll stop there. So
Okay.
we'll stop at this point now, because this is where Pandu is going to meet his end. So we'll start next week at this particular point. And we can see here that the Dhritarashtra, Vidura was a great advisor. We know this, being an incarnation of Yamaraj, actually. This Vidura was very, very special. And he gave the advice, but Dhritarashtra, he ignored very, very good advice here. Look, you've got 100 sons. Why don't you just give up this one son? Look, 100 sons. There's 99 you have. Give up one of them. This person is going to destroy the whole dynasty. He'll finish everything. He couldn't take it. So Srila Prabhupada describes in Bhagavad Gita that Dhritarashtra was materially and spiritually blind. And this is the point where we can see the failing of Dhritarashtra in that he didn't have the strength within him, the spiritual strength, to take responsibility to let this one child go and for it to be abandoned. Because a child, if it's abandoned, can't survive. So anybody else want to sum up this this particular section? Amita Prabhu, any points?
It seems
Yes, Rajni.
it seems the beginning of the big Mahabharat battle here is already set up. Dhritarashtra refusing to get rid of Duryodhana. So we are now setting a scene for the big war.
Yeah, yeah. Of
That
course,
looks like the omens.
that's a good point. But we can say that also Krishna, Kuru Pandava Yud Machayo. Kuru Pandava Yud Machayo. This Yud was arranged by Krishna. So the Gita is the essence of the Mahabharat, and it's the essence of the Upanishads. So just for the Bhagavad Gita to be spoken, this whole Mahabharat war ultimately came to pass. And therefore Dhritarashtra, ultimately he was influenced by the Paramatma, within to not take Vidura's advice. Very nice point, Prabhu. Anybody else?
So sorry, Prabhu, if nobody's going to say, I just want to add quickly or ask a question to you, Prabhu. So are you saying Krishna planned these 5 great Pandu sons and deliberately produced Duryodhana?
Yeah. See, Krishna had to arrange for this war to take place upon the request of Bhumi Devi. Bhumi Devi approached Lord Brahma and begged that the Lord descend to relieve her of the being overburdened by the belligerent kings, Kshatriya kings, and massive armies that are accrued on the planet, and she needed it to be cleaned up. She needed the whole planet to be cleaned up. So Krishna arranged ultimately for this whole Mahabharat war, the war itself, to take place. And of course, the essence of that war, of the Kurukshetra scenario, with 2 armies either side, is in that bhajan I just sang here. Kuru Pandava Yud Machayo, Arjun ko Upadesh Shunayo. So just for Arjuna to hear the Upadesh, Krishna's Upadesh of the Gita, this Mahabharat war was arranged. And as we know, when Krishna does one thing, what happens?
It works out that way, doesn't it?
When Krishna does one thing, what's the consequence of Krishna doing one thing?
Multiple
He
things
does many
are achieved.
things.
Yes, Prabhu. Amita, yes, that's right. Multiple, Shamamai, multiple things are achieved when Krishna just does the one. This is the perfection of God, of course, as explained in that lovely invocation to the Ishopanishad. Who knows the invocation to the Ishopanishad?
Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamiva Vishishyate.
Very good.
And the translation is?
Personality of Godhead is perfect and complete. And because he is completely perfect, all emanations from him, such as this phenomenal world, are perfectly equipped as complete wholes.
Whatever
is manifest from the complete whole is also complete in itself, but he remains a complete balance.
And because he okay, you've forgotten it. We go through this, Amita. We've learned all this translations properly, but she's rushing it. You've rushed it.
Yeah, because he,
Go to Russia.
last bit I forgot.
Go to Russia.
Because he, it's a complete whole, he remains, I don't know, go on, I'm guessing it.
Yeah. But now Shamamai has got the Bhaktivedanta degree.
Yeah, what
She's
have I
got-
done with it?
she's got the Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Siddhanta, Bhakti Vaibhava, and a Bhakti Vedanta. She's got a degree now.
But I'm like, what have I done with it? I'm just nonsense, I am. Okay,
And
sorry.
you blew the translation.
I know, and that's what the Shastri.
Yes, whatever is produced of the complete whole is also complete in itself. Because he is
Even though so many complete units emanate from him, it
he
remains a
remains
complete,
he
the
remains
complete balance.
the complete balance. Hooray!
I said that.
Balance is vashishyate. Avashishyate means the balance. So when Krishna Purnam is mentioned 7 times there in that shloka, meaning that when Krishna does one thing, it's perfect. Everything is like dominoes. Many things are achieved by doing one thing. This is Bhagwan.
So,
Who would like to be able to do that? Would you like to be able to do that, Prabhu?
can I speak? Can I clarify? Ask question, Prabhu.
Yes, Rajini.
You said Bhumi Devi said, Lord of Evil began on this planet, and she prayed to Krishna for this reason, to get away from this, avoid all this, or get rid of this evil coming.
Yeah.
So what we are talking here is the situation where Krishna arranges for this evil Duryodhan to appear, arranges for Pandava brothers to appear, the righteous guys, knowing full well that in future there will be a battle, and then there will be this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. No, sorry, what's his name? The son of Arjun who came out.
Abhimanyu.
Not Abhimanyu, the grandson. I think what was his name? Who?
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit Maharaj.
Parikshit.
Yeah. So all that Bhumi Devi's prophecy spoken to Krishna earlier was manifested through what Parikshit Maharaj seeing this evil guy, showing cruelty to animals. And so we are seeing this multiple steps, as you say, coming up.
The whole Kali Yuga, Prabhu, the whole Kali Yuga is the arrangement of the Lord. Everything that's happening is the arrangement of the Lord. Our problem is we don't accept it. We don't, and therefore we don't accept the responsibility of our karmas. If we only accepted the responsibility that I've messed up here, this whole situation I'm in is because of my karmas. If we just accepted responsibility and the Lord's arrangement is that the karmas are there, we'll come to a full circle and click, and we're connecting with the Lord then. But our problem is we'll go only so far, and then we'll say, no, and then we don't accept responsibility. We have to go full circle, connect with the Lord, and then we're back in our original Sarup Siddhi position. Our problem is we just do not accept responsibility. And that's a big topic you've hit on there. So let's give him a big clap for that.
Sorry? What did you say?
That was a big clap for hitting on that big topic there.
Well, this is the question, Prabhu, because when you say that, well, when you talk about Kali Yuga, and then you've got the last very unstable leg of the 4 typical virtues, 3 of them disappeared in Dwapar Yuga. So then Krishna is now arranging Kali Yuga with all these qualities of selfishness and ignorance and, Shudra qualities of everybody. It's almost as if he wants Kali Yuga to come that way, and people of the material world are simply following their path because, he instills those qualities of the evil and the good, as the Bhagavad Gita says. I don't know. This is
Yeah, but no, the evil is in the evil can't exist unless it's in God. But when when Krishna does something bad, it's actually good.
yeah.
When he does something bad, say he cheats, or he tells a lie, or he told Yudhisthira to tell a lie, or he goes around pinching other people's wives. He's running off with the gopis, and he's doing this, and he's killing people, and he's a real character. But when he does it, it's good. Our problem is we think we can do it. And that's why we come here to try to enact these our leelas, our Bhagwan leelas, you see. But the problem is, because we're not Bhagwan, we incur karma. And we have to suffer the karmas.
But then you see, if you follow Krishna consciousness principles, and if everybody follows Krishna consciousness in this world, there will be no Kali Yuga, the fourth yuga. And so we'll bypass Kali Yuga after the 3 yugas. We'll back into Satya Yuga.
Yeah, that's not going to happen, by the way. I mean, it's a nice idea. You see, our problem also, Rajni Bhai, is that we want to be, we are so addicted to being in the material world. We're just trying to make this world perfect all the time. We'll never make this world perfect. We'll never. The world, material world is perfectly set up to be imperfect. Ding!
Thank you.
Purnamada Purnamidam. You see, the Lord, he set everything here in the material world to be imperfect. And here we are trying to make it perfect. Again, we're trying to be God. See, this is the very last stage. We're clinging on to be God somehow. So, the idea is, we do our, Bhaktisiddhanta said, this material world's like the bathroom. Like the bathroom. You go to the bathroom, you go and pass urine and stool, and you get out. You get out. Don't stay in there reading newspapers. Some people go in the bathroom smoking cigarettes and reading newspapers and having a 3-course meal, sitting on the loo. That's not the business. Bhaktisiddhanta said, you come here, do your business, get out of this material world. It's not the place. It's not the fit place for a gentleman or a gentle lady. So without further ado, we'll stop there. Thank you for your points. Anybody else want to say something before we finish? Chetan-bhai?
No, I'm good.
Right, it's Jai Shri Krishna, the Crawley man.
The Crawley man is saying all good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. So Rajni Bhai, thank you, Prabhu.
Thank you, Haribo.
Prabhu, thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
Alex,
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
you see
Hare
next
Krishna.
week for what happens to Pandu. Haribo.
Hare
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 Bol.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to all.
Hare Hare.
Hare Bol.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Jai.
Uh,